The world of Ash Valley was quiet and broken. Long ago, humans had come to this planet to build homes and cities. They believed the land was safe and rich. But something went wrong. The colony failed, and the people disappeared. Metal towers lay broken in the dust. Old ships rested half-buried in gray sand. The sky was always filled with slow-moving clouds that looked like smoke. In the middle of this silent place, a small human child cried. The baby lay inside the remains of a shelter made from metal and glass. The power was gone, and the air was cold. The child had been wrapped in a thin blanket with a small symbol on it. No one was there to answer the cries. The sound echoed across the empty land. High above the valley, something ancient moved through the clouds. Large wings pushed the air aside with slow and powerful beats. A dragon flew low, her scales dark blue like the night sky. Her eyes glowed softly as she watched the land below. Her name was Aria. She was one of the elder dragons of Ash Valley. Her kind had lived on this planet long before humans ever arrived. The dragons were not beasts of fire and rage. They were thinkers, builders, and watchers. They mixed old wisdom with advanced science. They hid their cities deep inside mountains and beneath the planet's crust, choosing to observe the galaxy instead of ruling it. Arya heard the crying sound and stopped in the air. She turned her head and listened again. Dragons could hear things far away, even through stone and wind. This sound was weak, small, and full of fear. She landed near the ruined shelter. The ground shook slightly as her claws touched the surface. She folded her wings and walked slowly, careful not to damage the fragile remains around her. When she looked inside, she saw the child. The baby had soft skin and dark hair. His face was red from crying. His eyes were wide and full of confusion. Arya felt something strange in her chest. Dragons lived long lives, but they rarely raised young of other species. Still, she felt a deep pull to protect this small life. She lowered her head and gently touched the blanket with one claw. The child stopped crying and stared at her. Instead of fear, the baby reached out and grabbed the edge of her claw with his tiny fingers. Arya made a low sound, soft and warm. She lifted the child carefully and held him close to her chest. Her scales shifted to produce heat, keeping the baby warm. She scanned the area. There were no living humans, no active signals, and no signs of danger. The colony was truly dead. Arya took flight again, holding the child safely. She flew toward the great mountain where the dragon city rested. Deep inside the mountain, the city glowed with soft lights. Wide halls carved from stone connected living spaces, labs, and meeting chambers. Other dragons looked up as Arya arrived, surprised to see her carrying a human child. The elders gathered quickly. They spoke in deep voices, sharing thoughts and concerns. Humans were fragile. Raising one would be difficult. Bringing him into dragon society could change their path. Arya listened, then stepped forward. She spoke with calm strength. She said the child would die if left alone. She said the galaxy was changing, and hiding forever might not protect them. Most of all, she said the child deserved a chance to live. After long discussion, the elders agreed. They named the child Lucas. Lucas grew up inside the mountain city. At first, he was small and weak, but the dragons cared for him with patience. Special rooms were built to support his needs. Medical systems adjusted the air and gravity so he could grow safely. Arya stayed close to him, acting as his guardian. She watched as he learned to walk, then run, then climb. Lucas learned dragon sounds before human words. He laughed when dragons hummed, and he slept best when he heard wing beats echoing through the halls. As he grew older, the dragons taught him slowly. He learned simple math, history, and science. They showed him old recordings of Earth and human worlds. Lucas stared at the images with curiosity and sadness. He wondered if any humans were still alive somewhere. Sometimes he asked about his parents. The dragons told him they did not know who they were. This made him quiet, but not bitter. He felt loved, even if he did not fully understand his past. Lucas also learned dragon ways. He learned how to read energy flows, how to repair machines, and how to understand star maps. Dragons used both technology and natural abilities. Lucas was fascinated by this balance. When he was older, he learned to ride on a dragon's back, using special harnesses. His favorite dragon was a young one named Kale. Kale was playful and curious, always asking questions. Together, they explored tunnels, watched stars, and dreamed of traveling beyond Ash Valley. Sometimes Lucas felt different. He was smaller, softer, and could not fly on his own. Other dragons treated him kindly, but he knew he was not like them. At night, he often stood near observation windows, looking at the galaxy. He wondered why humans fought so much. He wondered why his colony had failed. He wondered what his role in the universe might be. One day, strange signals reached the Dragon City. Long-range sensors detected powerful fleets moving across nearby systems. Planets were going silent. Civilizations vanished without warning. The elders gathered again. This time their voices carried worry. The signals belonged to a growing alien empire. This empire destroyed or controlled everything in its path. It did not seek peace. Lucas listened quietly from the edge of the chamber. He felt fear, but also something else. A sense that this danger mattered to him deeply. Arya noticed his expression. She placed her wing gently around him. Lucas looked up at her and asked if the Empire would come for Ash Valley. Arya did not lie. She said it was possible. That night, Lucas could not sleep. He thought about the humans who once lived on this planet. He thought about the dragons who saved him. He felt torn between two worlds, yet connected to both. As Ash Valley turned slowly beneath the stars, Lucas made a silent promise to himself. He would not hide forever. Whatever the galaxy was becoming, he would face it. And far away, unknown forces were already moving. Unaware that a small human child raised by dragons would one day stand in their way, Lucas grew quickly after the first warnings reached the Dragon City. Years passed and the small child became a strong young boy. He was still human, still fragile compared to dragons, but his mind was sharp and his heart was steady. He learned faster than anyone expected. The dragons adjusted their lessons to help him. They taught him how to move safely in low-gravity rooms. They trained his body with gentle strength exercises. Lucas learned discipline, patience, and focus. These were things dragons valued deeply. Arya watched him every day. She saw how he listened more than he spoke. She saw how he helped younger dragons understand lessons when they struggled. She saw how he looked at the stars with a quiet hunger. Lucas spent many hours in the old human archive room. The dragons had recovered broken data from the ruins of Ash Valley. The images were faded, and many files were damaged, but some still worked. Lucas watched recordings of human families, cities, and ships. He learned how humans laughed, argued, and dreamed. Sometimes he felt pain in his chest when he saw children with parents. Other times, he felt pride when he saw humans exploring space. He did not feel anger. He felt questions. Kale often joined him. Kale was growing too, his wings larger and his scales brighter. He liked to tease Lucas and challenge him to races through the tunnels. Kale could fly, but Lucas used small transport platforms to keep up. "You think too much," Kale once said while resting near a crystal window. "Dragons feel first. You should try it." Lucas smiled. "If I stop thinking, I might fall off your back." Kale laughed, a deep rumbling sound that shook the stone walls. As Lucas entered his teenage years, the elders allowed him to join higher-level training. He learned how dragon ships worked. These ships were living machines, grown rather than built. They responded to thought, energy, and command tones. Lucas surprised many elders by how easily he understood them. He could not control ships like dragons could, but he learned how to guide them using human tools and interfaces. The elders began to see that Lucas was not weak, he was different. Outside the mountain, the galaxy grew darker. More signals arrived. Worlds fell silent. Trade routes vanished. Refugee ships passed through nearby systems, desperate and damaged. One day, a small human ship entered Ash Valley space by accident. Its engines were failing, and its crew was exhausted. Dragon defenses locked onto it at once. The elders debated. Revealing themselves was dangerous. Lucas stepped forward. His voice was calm but strong. He said the ship needed help. He said humans would die if ignored. He said hiding would not erase the truth forever. After a long pause, the elders agreed to allow limited contact. The human ship was guided into a hidden valley. The crew was shocked when they saw dragons for the first time. Fear spread quickly, but Lucas spoke to them in simple, human words. He told them they were safe. A woman named Claire was the ship's captain. She stared at Lucas with wide eyes. "You are human," she said, "but you live with them." Lucas nodded. "They raised me." Claire told them about the Empire. It had destroyed her homeworld. Her people barely escaped. She said the Empire hunted anything useful and crushed resistance without mercy. That night, Lucas could not stop thinking. The pain in Claire's voice stayed with him. The memory of burning cities from old recordings, mixed with her words. He went to Arya and told her he wanted to leave Ash Valley someday. He wanted to help humans and others fight back. Arya listened quietly. She did not interrupt. When he finished, she said that wanting to help others was not weakness. It was strength. But she warned him that the galaxy was cruel, and good intentions alone were not enough. Lucas accepted this. He asked to train harder. The next years were filled with effort. Lucas learned strategy by studying past wars. He learned diplomacy by listening to dragon councils. He learned survival skills for hostile worlds. He also learned fear. During a training flight, a system warning failed. A transport platform lost control and spun toward a cliff wall. Kale reacted instantly, grabbing the platform with one claw and slamming into the rock to stop it. Kale was injured, his wing torn badly. Lucas thought Kale would die. He stayed by Kale's side during healing, refusing to leave. He blamed himself. Kale later told him it was worth it. "You are my brother," Kale said. "That means something?" This was the first time Lucas fully understood family. When Lucas turned 18, the elders invited him to speak at a full council. This was rare. He stood in the great chamber, surrounded by massive shapes and glowing eyes. He spoke about the Empire. He spoke about humans, dragons, and other species. He said the Empire grew because good people stayed silent and hidden. He said Ash Valley could become a light instead of a shadow. The chamber was silent when he finished. Some elders disagreed. They said dragons survived by patience, not war. Others agreed that the time of hiding was ending. Arya spoke last. She said Lucas carried both dragon wisdom and human heart. She said the galaxy might need exactly that. The decision was not final, but something had changed. Soon after, scouts reported Empire fleets moving closer than ever before. One planet only, 2 jumps away, went silent overnight. Lucas stood again at the observation window, staring at the stars. This time, he did not feel like a child looking out. He felt like someone standing on the edge of a path. He placed his hand against the glass. Somewhere out there were humans who needed help. Somewhere out there was the reason he survived. And somewhere out there, the Empire was growing stronger, unaware that a human raised by dragons was preparing to step into the galaxy. The elders finally made their choice after many long meetings. The danger was too close now. Hiding would no longer protect Ash Valley. The galaxy was changing, and the dragons could feel it in the movement of fleets and the silence of dead worlds. They decided to send a small group beyond Ash Valley. Not an army, just a message. Lucas was chosen to go. When he heard this, he felt fear and excitement together. He had dreamed of the stars all his life, but now the dream was real. He would leave the only home he had ever known. He would meet humans, not as old images, but as living people. Arya would go with him. Kale would also join, even though his wings still carried old scars. A small dragon ship was prepared, grown from crystal and metal, shaped to travel quietly and fast. Before leaving, Lucas walked through the Dragon City one last time. He touched the stone walls, the glowing panels, the training halls where he had fallen and risen again. Dragons bowed their heads as he passed. Some touched his shoulder gently with claws or wings.
"You carry all of us,"
one elder told him.
"Do not forget where you came from."
Lucas nodded. "I will not." The ship slipped into space without noise. Ash Valley faded behind them, becoming a gray point among stars. Lucas pressed his forehead against the window and whispered goodbye. Their destination was a human-controlled system that still sent weak signals. It was damaged but alive. The journey took days. During that time, Lucas studied human speech patterns and political systems. He wanted to speak clearly. He wanted to be understood. When they arrived, human defense systems reacted at once. Warning signals filled space. Weapons locked onto the dragon ship. Lucas felt his heart race. This was the moment. He opened a communication channel and spoke slowly. He said they came in peace. He said they wished to help. He said his name was Lucas, and he was human. There was a long pause. Then a voice answered. It was cautious, tired, but curious. The ship was guided to a space station orbiting a damaged planet. Fires still burned on the surface below. When Lucas stepped onto the station, humans froze. Some raised weapons, others stared in shock at the dragons behind him. Lucas raised his hands to show he meant no harm.
"I was raised by them,"
he said. They saved my life. A man named Ethan stepped forward. He was a pilot, wearing a worn uniform. His eyes were sharp, but not cruel. If this is a trick, he said, it is a strange one. A woman named Mia joined him. She was a scientist, her clothes marked with burns and stains from long hours of work. She studied the dragons with open wonder. They brought Lucas and the dragons to a meeting chamber. Leaders from different groups gathered. Fear filled the room, but so did hope. Lucas told his story. He spoke about Ash Valley, about the Empire, and about the dragons choosing to step out of hiding. He did not exaggerate. He did not threaten. He simply told the truth. Some leaders argued. They said dragons could turn on them. Others said they had no choice. The Empire was winning. Doing nothing meant death. Mia asked the most important question. Why you? She asked Lucas.
"Why not stay safe with the dragons?"
Lucas answered honestly.
"Because humans are my people too."
And because hiding did not save my parents. The room fell silent. The alliance was not formed that day, but the first bridge was built. Over the next weeks, Lucas stayed on the station. He helped translate dragon systems for human engineers. He learned how human fleets worked. He listened to stories of loss and survival. Ethan became his closest friend. They talked late into the night about flying, fear, and responsibility. Ethan admitted he was afraid most of the time. Lucas said he was, too. Mia worked with Arya to study dragon technology. She was amazed by how organic and adaptable it was. Together, they found ways to link dragon ships with human command systems. Slowly, trust grew. News spread. Other human groups arrived. Then other species. Some had only heard rumors of dragons. Seeing them change sides gave many hope. The Empire noticed. Scouts reported enemy fleets changing course. The Empire did not understand dragons fully, but it understood symbols. A human standing with dragons was a powerful one. The Empire sent a message. It demanded Lucas be handed over. It promised mercy if the Alliance obeyed. Lucas watched the message with a calm face. Inside, his chest felt tight. He knew what the demand meant. The council asked him to step outside while they debated. Arya followed him into a quiet hall. "You can still turn back," she said. "No one would blame you." Lucas shook his head. "If I do, this ends. They will keep killing." Kale lowered his head beside him. "Whatever happens," Kale said, "you are not alone." The council returned with their answer. They refused the demand. The Empire attacked within days. The first battle was small but fierce. Human ships formed lines while dragon ships moved like living shadows. Lucas stayed in the command center, helping coordinate both sides. His voice stayed steady even when ships were lost. The Alliance won, but barely. After the battle, Lucas walked through the damaged station. He helped carry wounded people. He listened to cries and whispers. The cost was real. That night, he stood near a window again, staring into space. This time, he was not dreaming. He was choosing. The galaxy now knew his name. The dragons were no longer hidden, and the human raised by them had become something new. Not just a survivor, but a leader standing at the center of a growing storm. The Empire was growing stronger every day. Their fleets were enormous, black shapes moving through space like shadows. Worlds fell before them. Small planets disappeared in hours. Refugees traveled in desperation, and the Alliance struggled to respond. Lucas watched the news from the bridge of the dragon human fleet. The screens showed distant worlds burning, ships exploding, and fleets scattering. He felt anger, but it was not wild. It was steady, controlled, a fire to guide action, not destroy. Arya and Kale stood beside him. Arya's eyes were calm, but Lucas knew the worry behind them. Kale's tail flicked nervously. Even dragons, ancient and wise, could feel the weight of the Empire's might. Lucas turned to the fleet commanders. "We cannot hide," he said. "We cannot retreat. If we do, more people will die. We must strike their command center directly." Some commanders hesitated. A direct attack was dangerous. It could mean death for many ships. Lucas knew that. He had thought about it every night since the first attack. But he also knew that the Empire needed a lesson. A clear message that the galaxy would not bow. The plan was set. Lucas, Arya, and Kale would lead a strike team aboard a dragon ship designed to move silently. The mission: infiltrate the Empire's command ship, disrupt their control systems, and give the Alliance fleet a chance to win the larger battle. As they approached the Empire's territory, Lucas felt a chill in his chest. The Empire's defenses were vast. Black energy shields covered massive ships. Laser turrets scanned space continuously. Every sensor was active. But Lucas's mind was clear. He relied on the dragon's instincts, the training they had given him, and the humans' tactics he had studied. Kale flew ahead to scout. His wings glowed faintly in the void as he maneuvered around patrol ships. Arya guided the ship, using energy currents in space that humans did not understand. Lucas monitored the control systems, adjusting engines, shields, and communications. They entered the Empire's outer perimeter undetected. Lucas felt pride and fear together. It was the first time he truly led a mission. He thought of all the humans and dragons depending on him. He thought of Ash Valley and the dragons who raised him. He thought of the humans who needed help, who had no one else to protect them. The first line of defense was a massive energy gate. It pulsed with black light, ready to destroy any ship that approached. Arya adjusted their energy signature to mimic the gate's own pulses. The ship slipped through quietly, almost like a shadow melting into darkness. Inside the Empire's ship was enormous. Dark metal corridors stretched farther than Lucas could see. Engines hummed with power. Guards patrolled continuously. The strike team landed in a hidden bay. Lucas led them through the corridors. Every sound echoed. Every shadow could hide danger. Kale stayed close, wings folded to move silently. Arya's scales shimmered in the dim light, blending with the walls. They reached the control center. Lucas studied the panels. Machines hummed with alien energy. Screens displayed the Empire's fleet movements, energy levels, and communication channels. He realized the Empire's command structure was fragile. A few adjustments could disrupt everything. Lucas took a deep breath and began. He accessed human-compatible systems first, relaying commands through Arya's energy network. They sent false signals to confuse the Empire's fleets. Ships turned in the wrong direction. Turrets locked onto empty space. Chaos spread, but controlled chaos. Then, the main console glowed. An alarm sounded. A squad of Empire guards rushed toward them. Lucas had anticipated this. Kale leaped, knocking guards aside with powerful wings and tail strikes. Arya used energy pulses to disable weapons without killing. Lucas moved quickly, pressing commands on alien panels, sending errors through the system. In the middle of the struggle, a shocking realization came. The Empire had records of Lucas's home colony. His parents had sent him away to survive the attack. They had known the Empire would destroy everything. Lucas had not been abandoned. He had been saved. The thought strengthened him. He moved faster, more focused. With a final command, the Empire's control network went offline. The fleet outside faltered. Ships collided or drifted. Energy shields collapsed. The Alliance fleet moved in, taking advantage of the confusion. The strike team escaped just as reinforcements arrived. Explosions shook the corridors. Lucas felt the heat of energy bursts near him. Kale grabbed him. Arya wrapped wings around them both, and they leapt into the escape pod. Outside, the Empire's main ship was damaged, but still dangerous. Lucas watched as the Alliance fleet engaged, now with the upper hand. The sky of space was alive with movement. Dragon ships weaving, human fighters diving, enemy vessels exploding. When the battle ended, the Empire retreated. The Alliance had won, but at great cost. Many ships were destroyed. Dozens of dragons and humans were lost. Lucas felt grief, but he knew victory had been necessary. He returned to the fleet, helping the wounded and comforting survivors. His heart was heavy, but steady. He had faced the Empire directly. He had learned the truth of his past. He had survived, and he had led others. That night, he stood on the observation deck, looking at the stars. Ash Valley seemed so far away, but he could feel its memory in his heart. He thought of his parents, of the dragons who raised him, and of the humans who trusted him. Arya landed beside him quietly. "You have grown, Lucas," she said. "Not just in strength, but in understanding. This is what it means to lead." Lucas nodded. I will not stop," he said softly. "There are more worlds."
More people who need help. I cannot rest while they suffer.
Kale touched his shoulder with a claw. "You are not alone," he said. "You never were." Lucas looked at the stars, feeling the weight of his choices. He knew the Empire would return. He knew more battles awaited. But he also knew he was ready. He carried the courage of dragons, the heart of humans, and the wisdom of those who raised him. And far away, the galaxy listened. A human raised by dragons had faced the Empire. He had survived, he had fought, and he had become more than anyone expected. The galaxy's future was changing. And Lucas, once a small abandoned child, was now at its center. The Alliance rebuilt, preparing for the next challenge. Lucas trained others, teaching them both human strategy and dragon instincts. He visited destroyed worlds, helping survivors and comforting those who had lost everything. With every step, every choice, Lucas became a symbol of hope, unity, and courage. He was no longer just the dragon child. He was a bridge between species, a leader ready to face the Empire again. And in the quiet moments, when he looked at the stars and felt the memory of Ash Valley in his chest, he promised himself one thing he would never forget. He would protect life wherever it existed, no matter the cost. The Empire had learned one lesson. The human raised by dragons was no longer just a child. He was a force the galaxy could not ignore. The galaxy was changing, slowly but surely. The Empire had retreated, but it was not defeated. Scattered forces still moved through space, attacking weak worlds and supply lines. The Alliance needed guidance, and Lucas had become more than a soldier. He had become a leader. Years passed since the Great Strike on the Empire's command ship. Lucas had grown taller and stronger. His face had the calm determination of someone who had seen both loss and hope. He traveled with dragons and humans together, helping rebuild planets, teaching strategy, and forming councils where leaders of different species could meet. Arya remained at his side. The elder dragon's eyes were wise and kind. She had watched Lucas grow from a helpless child to a young man who carried the hopes of the galaxy. Kale, still playful despite his scars, often rode beside him in the skies of planets or the void of space, reminding Lucas that joy was part of life, even in war. One morning, Lucas visited a planet called Saren. Its surface had been damaged by Empire attacks. Cities were rebuilt from scratch. Survivors were weary but hopeful. Children ran through streets, laughing. Families were reuniting. Lucas walked among them quietly, seeing the fruit of his efforts. A young human girl approached him. "Are you the dragon child?" she asked, wide-eyed. Lucas smiled softly.
I am Lucas, he said. But yes, I was called that once.
She held his hand for a moment. "You saved us," she said. Lucas felt something in his chest. The words were simple, but they carried the weight of all he had fought for. He knelt down to her level. "I only did what I had to," he said. "There are many heroes here. You, your family, and all the people who survived."
You are the true strength of the galaxy.
As Lucas traveled from system to system, word of his deeds spread. Humans and dragons worked together in fleets, cities, and councils. Other species began to join, inspired by the Dragon-Human Alliance. Some were small, fragile beings. Others were strong warriors who had hidden from the Empire. All looked to Lucas as a symbol of courage and unity. The Empire was not gone, but it had lost control. Its leaders were confused by the Alliance's resilience. They had underestimated a human raised by dragons. They had thought he would be weak, afraid, or alone. They had been wrong. Lucas spent nights studying maps of the galaxy, planning defenses and trade routes. He also trained new leaders. Humans learned dragon ways, and dragons learned human strategies. Lucas believed that only by working together could the galaxy survive future threats. One day, while visiting a newly rebuilt colony, Lucas felt a strange signal. It was not an attack, but a call. It came from the ruins of Ash Valley, his first home, the colony where he had been left as a baby. The message was faint, but Lucas understood immediately. Someone had survived. Someone remembered. He returned to Ash Valley with Arya and Kale. The ruins were quiet, scarred by time and war, but Lucas walked through the remains calmly. He remembered the shelter where he had cried as a baby, the empty streets, the broken towers. He found a small memorial built by survivors. It had his parents' names engraved, along with messages of hope for any child who might be lost. Lucas fell to his knees. He had never abandoned the memory of them, and now he understood that he had been saved for a reason. Arya lowered her head beside him. "You were never alone," she said. "Even then, you had someone watching over you." Lucas smiled through quiet tears. "I know now," he said. "I was meant to live, to help, to unite." The Alliance continued to grow. Lucas led missions to worlds threatened by Empire remnants. He helped rebuild planets, establish schools, and train leaders. He created a network where dragons and humans shared knowledge freely. He encouraged other species to join, forming a council that worked for peace, not conquest. One day, the Empire launched a surprise attack on a distant colony. Lucas led the fleet personally. His ship moved with grace, dragons soaring in formation beside him. Human fighters weaved through the enemy ranks. Lucas coordinated both species effortlessly, his voice calm but strong. The battle was long, but the Alliance won again. The Empire retreated, weaker than before. Lucas did not celebrate. He focused on helping the wounded and repairing what had been broken. His mind was always on the future, on keeping the galaxy safe. Years passed, and Lucas became a legend. His name was spoken across systems. Children learned stories of a human raised by dragons who united species and fought for peace. Humans and dragons celebrated festivals together. Cities grew. Planets thrived. The galaxy, once afraid and divided, began to heal. Lucas often returned to Ash Valley. He planted gardens in the ruins, rebuilt small structures, and left messages of hope for anyone who might come after him. He visited the places where he had trained, played, and learned. Every step reminded him of where he had come from and why he fought. One evening, Lucas stood on a high cliff of Ash Valley, looking at the stars. Kale rested beside him, wings folded, tail flicking slowly. Arya hovered nearby, scales shimmering in the fading light. Lucas whispered, "The galaxy is not perfect, but it is alive, and we can make it better." Kale nudged him gently.
"You did all of this," he said. "You saved so many." Lucas shook his head.
"I did not do it alone. Humans, dragons, everyone who believed, we all did this together." He looked at the horizon. Ships moved slowly through space, carrying supplies, knowledge, and hope. Other species traveled alongside humans and dragons, learning and teaching. The Empire was still out there, but it no longer held the power to destroy without consequence. Lucas closed his eyes and remembered the child he had once been. Small, alone, and afraid. He felt the warmth of Arya's wings, Kale's playful strength, and the memory of Ash Valley. That child had grown into someone who could protect the galaxy, not just survive. He opened his eyes and smiled. The stars stretched endlessly before him, a reminder of endless possibilities. He felt both human and dragon in spirit. He knew he had found his place, not just in Ash Valley, not just with dragons, not just among humans, but in the galaxy itself. Lucas lifted his hand to the sky. Somewhere, out there, the galaxy watched. He did not speak. He only held hope. And hope, he knew, was stronger than any empire. From that cliff, with dragons by his side and humans ready to follow, Lucas promised himself one final thing. He would continue to protect, to guide, and to unite. For every lost child, for every wounded planet, for every life worth saving. The galaxy was his responsibility, and he accepted it fully. And in that quiet moment, the stars seemed to shine brighter, as if answering him. The human raised by dragons, the savior of the galaxy, had finally become exactly who he was meant to be.